Very good evening. Assalamu alaikum. Yeah, I have a very dry topic, taxation, and I have very few people as listeners here. Most of them are busy in the expo, I guess. But normally we are used to addressing a big crowd. It is very rare that we have handful of people. But I don't mind because the video is getting recorded. So this will be useful for those who are trying to connect with us online, inshallah. Yeah, myself, my name is Gulzar Karishma Malik. I'm a practicing chartered accountant, qualified about 15 years back. And I've been trying to guide the business community, the individual SSCs as well as the NGOs here in Hyderabad. And it takes a huge pleasure for me to get this opportunity to address in this expo. And I really thank the organizers to give this opportunity. It's a wonderful platform. In fact, when we were kids, we always wanted to participate in this kind of expo because it gives you some kind of exposure for the young children, especially for the student community. You know, they need a lot of platforms like this to understand what is going on in the business. So, luckily today we have budget as well, so I'm sure I will cover a little aspect of budget. And Munir bhai, alhamdulillah, he has covered a few points from my taxation. He has finished himself, like AIS, TIS, okay, so that is a cheating. I just wanted to bring the importance of this topic. Do we really need to focus on two aspects? One is the entrepreneurship, and the second one is the compliance, the tax compliance. So the good news is when it comes to entrepreneurship, yes, this is the right time for we all and you all to become business owners. Now you might be wondering, why am I telling this? If you see the numbers, India is growing at a GDP of 6.5 to 7%. And alhamdulillah, it is the fifth largest economy, and we are expecting that by 2027 or little later, it will become the third largest economy. We already have 1.4 billion consumers. The population of this country is already your consumer. The UPI transactions, if you see, the latest number says it is 23 lakh crore per month. That is the consumption which is happening. The e-commerce is growing by $350 billion. By 2030, it is going to be $350 billion. And the startup ecosystem is one of its unique. India gives the third best ecosystem for startups. And this budget, we have a lot of good news for startups also. Especially with the tax rates. If you see, the government has slashed the tax rates in the recent past. They've brought it down to 22% for domestic companies, 15% in all. So they are welcoming these startups. So in this kind of situation, it is very important that we as business owners, we grow and we grow with compliance. That is the point I wanted to bring. These numbers are giving us a confidence, okay, maybe the stock market is bad last 3 months. That does not mean consumption is not happening. The economy will evolve, the economy will recover. There is huge scope for the new businesses as well, and there is wonderful scope for the existing businesses. So here I bring my point, we all can grow, but we need to grow with compliance. So I have divided my talk into two parts. One is the GST mistakes that the business owners are doing, and the second part is the income tax mistakes that the business owners are doing. And why I call it a mistake? This mistake is something which cannot be done by simply saying sorry. The mistake is very expensive, and the mistake will carry cost, penalty, money is involved. So we have to be careful with this word called mistake. The first important thing which I want to bring to the new business owners, I am sure that most of you are startups and people who want to come up with business ideas. Just the basics. I am not here to get into the technicalities of taxation. So what is the basic thing about GST registration? One simple thing that we all have to be clear, the minute you're starting your business, please remember this number of 20 lakhs which Munir bhai had rightly said. that when you're crossing this 20 lakhs in your account, okay, so that means you are subject to GST registration. So you have to consciously watch the volume of transactions that you're doing. Okay, some people, even though they are aware that they're crossing this 20 lakhs, they don't bother to initiate their registration work. And they think, how will the department know? See, basically, when you file your income tax return and you declare yourself under the business category, automatically there is data sharing happening between the income tax department and the GST department. So eventually you will end up getting a notice which would say why you have not registered. And even before the income tax people sharing the data, it is the UPI data which the government is collecting now. From the UPI transactions, they are issuing notices that why you have not done your GST registration. So all of us have to take this very seriously. And this registration, some of you are hesitant. When they want to go for GST registration, they simply try to search online service, okay, where they simply ask for GST registration. But I tell you, the first year of your business, it's very important that you take the support of your professional, that is a chartered accountant, who works like a mentor for you. A right hand-holding and mentoring is needed. Why it is needed? Sometimes when you are a businessman, we sit and assess for you what kind of business you are dealing in. Are you a person who is into B2C or B2B? If you are a B2C person and the projections of your business are not going to cross big number, 1.5 crores, then we help and guide the SSC saying that instead of going with a regular tax scheme, it's better we register you under composition scheme. Composition scheme is such a blessing from the government. They want to encourage and support all the small business owners. You need not hesitate. It is simple. Just 1% of your turnover you have to give to the government. So when you rush with a GST registration online, nobody is going to guide you in terms of whether you fit under regular scheme or you fit under a composition scheme. This is a very important hand-holding which is needed. And I find many people doing mistakes at the time of registration. They are not clear about what GST rate is applicable. They end up declaring a wrong HSN code. Sometimes the GST rate has to be 18%. They select 12%, 5%. Classification is not what Google can do for you. You have to come to your CA and ask for the right classification. Because I've seen some cases where wrong classification has done a huge damage to the SSC. So GST registration is a serious matter. Classification is involved, scheme is involved, and trust me, the latest number is showing that almost 1.5 crore SSCs have been registered on GST so far. That's a big number. Okay, now coming to the second mistake that most of them are doing. Registration is over. What about the next thing? Next thing is the compliance, the return filing. Again, as Munir Bhai was saying, that we compromise on the accounts section, we compromise on the compliances. So somebody is doing the GST filing. And what is the result? Your GSTR 1 will not match with 3B. And your input credit in 3B will not match with 2A and 2B. This is what is happening. Complete mismatch between 1 and 3B. Okay, this is something which will trigger scrutiny from the department. And that time you will run to a professional asking for some help. Why can't you take care? As business owners, I simply request you one thing. Whenever your returns have been filed, you have every right to call your professional or have a GST login yourself. You log in and check what is the number which is reflected in 1. Is it matching with 3B or not? And whenever you feel there is a mismatch, you escalate, you create a red flag. Why do you wait for the department to tell you? Why can't you take the initiative of fixing this mismatch? You simply cannot say this GST is somebody's responsibility. You as a business owner, it is equally your responsibility. Okay, so you have to keep a track of what the mismatches are happening. Okay, that was about the compliance, and I find many startups, okay, they forget to comply with GSTR annual return. Okay, there is something called GSTR 9 and GSTR 9C. Okay, these returns are equally important. Your professional might forget to file it for you. It is your job to give a reminder and find out whether this return has been filed or not. Coming to the input credit, okay, the next mistake that most of them do is the financial mistake. They claim wrong input credit. Like some of you must be in a startup or a restaurant or a food service provider, and you are falling under this 5% GST rate, and you're not eligible to take any input credit, but you happily take credit. This is absolutely wrong. Okay, or there is some blocked credit. You're not supposed to take credit on the civil works which are happening at your place. The vehicles on which you have paid input credit, you cannot take. The food welfare activities which you have done for staff, you cannot take. So it is very important that you do not take the blocked credits. But we find many SSCs, simply for some short-term happiness and for arranging their working capital, they end up taking wrong input credit. So you have to keep an eye on this as well. Next important mistake that most of the SSCs do is not comply with reverse charge mechanism. Okay, so when I'm talking about GST, the law is very clear that certain services, when you incur, instead of forward charge, you as a receiver of the service is supposed to pay GST directly to the government. Normally, you pay GST to the supplier, to the vendor, and then he pays to the government. But under reverse charge, it is you who have to pay. And let me remind you that since 2 months, the government has brought rent under reverse charge mechanism. This is a very important takeaway home point for you. Why? Let me tell you, most of us in our expenses, we book rental expenditure. Okay, when it comes to rent, all you know is you compare how much is the amount, 2,40,000 per annum. Today's budget has increased this rent to 6 lakhs per annum. Okay, once it is crossing this figure, you deduct TDS 10%. But please remember, along with TDS, GST law is telling if your landlord is unregistered and you are paying rent, on that rent you have to pay GST 18% to the government. So most of the SSCs are not aware. You don't have to wait till the year end. You have to inform your GST return filer, whoever is a professional who's doing it for you. You tell him that I pay rent to an unregistered landlord. He's a small landlord. His total rents don't cross 20 lakhs. So he is not registered. Such rent, you have to pay 18% GST. So this reverse charge mechanism is a very important point that we need to keep in mind. And classification, I already told you. And another important point, when we are filing our income tax return, it's very important that we match the turnover with the GST record. So whatever we have reported in GST, that gross turnover should reflect in your income tax. Otherwise, this will lead to, scrutiny notices whenever there is a mismatch, because AI has to verify. So it's very easy for AI to check that how much is the turnover you reported in your GST records and how much are you reporting in income tax. When there is a mismatch, you end up getting notice. And not just GST and income tax, everything should be in line. Your bank account credits should match. That is equally important. Okay, sometimes your bank account is having X number. In GST, you showed Y number. And in income tax, you show Z number. And you end up getting notice and you come and run and come to us. How will we fix this problem? So this problem needs to be avoided. Okay, that was one thing. So roughly for GST, these are the common mistakes that people do. They don't bother to reconcile. They don't bother to do the correct classification. And they don't see the correct registration angle. Simple. GST is not very complicated. It is pretty simple. And I'm telling you, don't get scared of GST. GST composition scheme is very easy. It is less burdensome. You can take initiative. You can handle it. Now coming to the income tax compliances. Okay, so income tax, what is wrong? Like Munir Bhai was telling that people are not aware when they start their business, they don't even realize that the tax liability is different for each category of business. If it is sole proprietor, the taxation is different. If it's partnership firm, it is different. So you should be aware what is the tax rate and what is the surcharge applicable. Based on the tax liability, you can do the planning, how you run the business, whether you do it as a firm or you do it as a proprietorship or a private limited company. So this is very important at the start of your business. And then it's very important, in income tax law clearly says, do not mix your personal and business transactions. Okay, many times we see that a person has a huge credit in the bank statement. Okay, when you have a credit, that credit is of three types. Either the credit is your income, or it is a gift, or it is a loan. Okay, gift or loan, we will take care of it. But if it is income, it has to be taxed. But many SSEs don't give clarity. They end up mixing huge personal transactions into their bank account. They mix it with their business. This needs to be avoided. And very important, those who have already touched their break-even and they are comfortable and they're earning profits, they don't realize that there is something called advance tax. You need to start this, cultivate this habit of paying advance tax quarterly. Otherwise, you will end up paying interest. So this needs to be taken care. Okay, and many people fail to comply with TDS. TDS is a very important aspect. If you don't bother to deduct TDS and comply with it, you will end up getting disallowed. All such expenses on which TDS has not been complied, it will get added to your income, 30% of it. So this is going to hit your pocket. So you need to take care of your TDS compliances as well. Now coming to tax audit, many people who have their startup, okay, they come to us saying that I started my business about 2 or 3 years back and I did a turnover of more than 1 crore in my bank account, but I incurred huge losses. So because I incurred losses, I was not aware of any compliance. So this is another wrong understanding. See, when we talk about tax audit and filing of return, it does not mean we are addressing only profitable ventures. When we talk about tax audit and filing of return, we are equally addressing the loss-making entities. So if your turnover is more than 1 crore, tax audit is mandatory for you. And if you miss to get your tax audit done, then you will end up paying a penalty on it also. And the scope of submitting a belated tax audit report is actually not there. It will attract penalty. So you have to watch your numbers. You have to be very careful. You should discuss with your chartered accountant whether you fall under the category of tax audit or not. And for the small businesses who are here, you need not worry about these big words like tax audit, etc. There is a beautiful scheme for you which is called presumptive scheme. Presumptive taxation is saying that all you who are trying to grow in your business, up to 2 crores of your turnover, okay, you need not worry about maintenance of books. You need not worry about getting them audited. All you have to do is just offer 8% of your turnover as your income. So this is such a beautiful thing for small, businesses which are starting. Without any headache, the government is assuming that on your turnover, the profit is about 8%. And if we do digital transactions, they are assuming that the profit is about 6%. And this limit is being increased to 2 crores also. And there's another limit of 10 crores where 95% of your receipts are digital. So this is a beautiful scheme. You need to explore it and you should discuss about this scheme with your auditor. But whenever we are opting this scheme, you should once again keep in mind that this should match with your GST. Just because I told you no need of maintaining the books, it means in income tax, no need of maintaining books, but GST is needed. Okay, so you have to harmonize both the laws, income tax law and the GST law. Okay, so that was a beautiful scheme from tax point of view. Now coming to a very important point which we all need to understand. Normally, the department is saying when you earn income, you may hide it, okay? You will start hiding it, and we can't keep searching every SSC. You know, small people don't have this IT raids, search and seizure. So when we can't search your hidden income, what we will do is, we will keep an eye on your expenses. You may hide your income, but what about your expenditure? You can't hide your expenditure. How are they watching you? They are saying, we will look at your transactions. We all know this high value transactions. Okay, when we are buying immovable property more than 30 lakhs, the SRO is asking us to quote our PAN number. When we are buying a four-wheeler, a car, we are supposed to quote our PAN number. When we are doing cash deposits more than 10 lakhs in saving account, our PAN gets reported. Cash deposits more than 50 lakhs in current account, it gets reported. So government is tracking your UPI transactions, they are tracking your high value transactions based on the expenditure, including, like we were discussing about this TCS, okay? TCS is what? When you're going for a foreign tour, they are deducting TCS for you, or you're remitting money outside India for your children education. When you're sending your child outside India, all that is getting tracked. So when your expenses are getting tracked, how can you say my expenditure is 50 lakhs but my income is only 7? It is absolutely wrong. So your income and expenditure both should be in line. This is very important. So whenever you're doing your high value transactions, please do not hesitate to go and take legal and professional advice from your CAs. Be conscious, grow smartly, grow with compliance. You can plan few transactions till March and you can plan the rest of the transactions after March. Why be stupid with our transactions? So that's very important. This is what I wanted to tell about tax audit, GST and all. Coming to the budget, I know today being the budget day, how can we miss this opportunity not discuss the budget which has come in the afternoon. So we all know with the WhatsApp forward that there is a good news. Okay, see, this budget looks more like, vote bank kind of budget to make the middle class tax return filers a little happy. From growth point of view, from investment in the capital side of the country, I'm not commenting, but from SSC's point of view, yes, it is a good news. We were thinking that they will increase the slab of rebate from 7 to 10 lakhs, but we are pretty happy that they made it 12 lakhs. So all the SSCs can confidently file their return, claim a tax rebate and pay no taxes. Here I want to clarify one important thing. When I say that there is a rebate up to 12 lakhs and there is no tax, immediately people start thinking I need not file return. See, filing of return is different. That is based on the slab, exemption limit. Like till last year, 2.5 lakhs. If your income is crossing 2.5 lakhs, filing of return was mandatory. Even now, when your income is crossing 4 lakhs, filing of return is mandatory. But because of the rebate up to 12 lakhs, the tax is not there. So you are lucky that there are no taxes. So I would encourage everyone to please come forward and file your returns. And for people who are still under the old tax regime, who are claiming deductions, etc., and you don't want to go with the rebate concept, for them, they have changed the slabs and, you've seen the WhatsApp forward up to 4, then 4 to 8, 4 to 12, 12, 16, every 4 lakhs, they're changing the rates. It has gone up to 9 slabs they've created. Okay, and one more good news is self-occupied property. Earlier, only one property was allowed to be self-occupied. Rest all were deemed to be let out. Now they've understood that human nature is we are all getting bored of one house. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we want to stay in one house, and in the weekend, we want to stay in another house. So 2 houses are self-occupied. Enjoy. And then for TDS and TCS also, a lot of relaxations, and they've increased the range. Okay, those are numbers, but for the startups, again, the good news is the government has come up with fund of fund, okay, for giving you an alternative investment fund of about 10,000 crores, I guess. And they have also increased the guarantee cover, okay, for those who go with debt. They need a guarantee from the government that has been increased. And the definition of micro, small, medium also became very wide. Earlier, small was very small. Now, you become a little big, you're still called small. And what is that? Earlier, micro enterprises based on investment 1 crore, we used to call them micro. Now they made it 2.5 crores. Small was 10 crores, they made it 25 crores. Medium was 50 crores, they made it 125 crores. Huge increase in the base. So many people who were out of the definition of MSME are now coming back into the concept of MSME, and they will get lot of benefits from loan subsidies, government grants, etc. Turnover-wise also they have enhanced the limits. Okay, so I think I was given half an hour, so I had to rush with my talk, but it was really nice addressing all of you. So I would end my talk with a simple note. Stay compliant, avoid the penalties, grow your business. Tax compliance should not be looked on as a burden. Rather, it's a strategy for you to grow peacefully. Trust me, you ask your friends who are having these notices in their hand, their peace of mind is gone. Okay, without the notices, you are more confident. Initially, tax compliance looks like a burden, but you get used to it. It's a discipline. It will come, but you have to take the initiative, be patient, and don't just depend on Google and AI for advisors. Okay, please come to us. We are always there for you. Thank you so much.